Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Ryan Wells here with Blue Line Optics again. Today, we want to do a video about the difference between Vortex optics and Athlon optics. And what we really want to do is address the question, which we get a lot, believe it or not, is one really better than the other? Now, that being said, this isn't going to be like a head-to-head, full out, we're putting these two scopes through a bunch of different batteries of tests or anything like that. However, what I have had the opportunity to use both of these over the past couple of months, and I think that's given me really good insight into the difference between their features, their quality, what they're really good to be used for, their pricing difference, et cetera, et cetera. So I consider these two companies to be extremely comparable. They both advertise themselves as making extremely high quality optics for a fraction of the cost, for cost that normal people can afford. If you don't want to spend $8,000 on an optic, you go to Vortex or you go to Athlon because you're going to be able to get really high quality for probably under. Usually with Athlon it's usually under about $2,000, and with Vortex it's right around there too. That being said, Vortex is actually on average priced a little bit higher than Athlon, but we're not going to go into too much detail there. The bottom line here is that I consider these two scopes to be these two scope companies to be extremely comparable, and I really want to start addressing the question: is one really better than the other, or is one really more preferable than the other? I personally think it's going to end up depending on your own personal preference. That being said, I love objective tests, and I love just taking a look at the facts and dealing with the facts over anything else. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the Vortex Crossfire II and the Athlon Neos. Now, keep in mind, these are not exact replicas of each other. The Vortex Crossfire II has a BDC reticle, which I personally find more preferable than the Center X reticle that the Neos has, but that's okay. We can deal without that. The Vortex Crossfire II is going to have 3 to 9 magnification and range. The Neos is a 4 to 12 magnification range. However, they both have 40 millimeter objective lenses, fully multi-coated optics, and all that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first scope we're going to go over is the Neos here. And the Neos, like I mentioned, has a 4 to 12 magnification adjustment and a 40 millimeter objective lens. Another great feature about it, which the Vortex does share too as well, are the capped windage and elevation turrets, which are great for hunting purposes, right? You want to make sure that your settings aren't being thrown off or anything like that. If you're out and about and you're hunting and you bump your gun into a tree, that could be a bad day if you change the setting and then maybe you don't even know that you changed the setting. You might come up to like a shot that's only going to come there once a day, once a season, once a year, once a lifetime even, and you're going to miss it because, it got knocked off. But yeah, those are some great features about it. Some additional features with the scope are it's fully multi-coated, so is the Crossfire, so it's great, clear glass there, but also it's got the parallax adjustment from 10 yards to infinity, which I thought was pretty sweet. I mean, you're not going to need the infinity, obviously, but anybody who's taken this out to like 300 to 500 yards or something like that, which you definitely could do, are going to find that to be extremely useful. Furthermore, some other basic features about it, and one of the more impressive ones is that it's got an 80 MOA total elevation and windage adjustment, which is a lot. That's quite a bit more than what the Vortex is bringing to the table. The Vortex has about 60, and 60 isn't bad. It's something to sneeze at, but like that additional 20 MOA, that's going to get you a lot more distance than what you can get on the Vortex. So obviously good deal there. Not to mention, you do have the capability of getting this model in an illuminated reticle if you want. And there's a bunch of different there's a bunch of different magnification adjustments that you can go with too. Now, pricing, the Neos itself will cost anywhere between $89.99 and $159.99, just depending on what kind of magnification you get. Are you going to have that parallax adjustment? Are you going to have the illuminated reticle? Are you going to have a BDC reticle or anything like that? If you got this scope, particularly right here in 3 to 9 magnification and with a BDC reticle that has the illuminated option, it would be $99.99. Okay, compared to the Vortex, $149 for $149 for what I paid for this one. Other than that, the eye relief is anywhere between 3 inches to 3.8 inches, comparable to the Vortex right there. and it's just a little bit bigger. It's 16.3 ounces and 12.4 inches, and the Vortex is going to be just a little bit less than that. Now we come to the Vortex Crossfire II. And again, this is a 3:9 magnification with a 40mm objective lens. It does not have parallax adjustment. It does not have an illuminated reticle. The features about it are extremely comparable to the Neos minus the parallax adjustment that you get there. It's got capped windage turrets, one-piece aluminum tubing, 1 inch in diameter. And it's got less elevation and windage adjustment, like I mentioned with the Neos. It's got about 60 MOA elevation and windage adjustment with the total that you can get out of it. This one's the BDC reticle, and I think MSRP, I got this for free because I got it on my Ruger American, which is a sweet feature, by the way, for Vortex to be featuring these scopes on top of Rugers. I mean, Ruger's extremely high quality gun, and so that's obviously some good market penetration for them, and you got to give them hats off to that. I gotta say, I kind of want Athlon to start doing something like that too. Now, but I digress. Now, the Vortex here, one thing that really stood out was the eye relief. It's advertised as a constant 3.8 inch eye relief, but that being said, there's a lot of room to play with it there. Like I can move my head back and forth and side to side, and I really don't get I really don't get much of that dark circle obstructing my view. With the Neos, that's not the case. And that's not to say the Neos is bad or anything like that. It's just that you get more of that dark circle, and there's less room for error there. The Vortex, it seems like there's going to be a lot more room for error there, because I haven't had a problem with that when I've mounted it on a rifle or anything. I can usually put my head just about anywhere and get like a really clear picture through that with just none of that black ring around there. So, and I don't think that's a reflection on glass quality necessarily. I think that's just a reflection on how the reflection of the image that's coming in through the objective lenses in there. That being said, I would give that extra points just for that, because that kind of blew me away how easy it was just to make that adjustment on the rifle there. Now, we went through the features of them. That being said, let's go into the differences between the two. And the differences are going to be highly weighed on my own personal experience of using these scopes. Now, I have not put them through tracking tests. I have not done the Snell and eye chart exam that I've been doing on the reviews that we've been having and stuff like that. What I have been doing is just, taking them out to the range, zeroing them, and just trying to shoot some good groups, just regular range plinking stuff, right? So that's going to be what this comparison is basically based on. So the main difference that I see with it is the price difference. Okay, the Vortex is quite a bit more expensive, with the $149 being on the low end of the spectrum for the different Crossfire 2s that you can get. And this one right here is going to be right around $149. The 2:7 magnification is $149. This is a 3:9 magnification. That being said, the 2:7 magnification has around the same features as it, so I can't expect it being too much more. That being said, I can't really find it. I can't find any accurate pricing on it anywhere, because I'm not totally sure if they sell it or if this is just on the Ruger. Not totally sure about that. If any of you know, please let me know. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to know and clarify that on the video. The Neos, on the other hand, can be anywhere between $89.99 and $159.99, depending on what kind of feature you get. Okay, this one here, which is the manufacturing part number 216008, this comes in at about $119.99, and for $119.99, it has more features than the Vortex Crossfire II, which we're assuming is going to be right around $149, right? So difference in price of about $30. Not a huge difference if you like the features of or if you like what we end up determining is better about the Crossfire more, then you're not really going to be missing out on much. That being said, Athlon takes the cake here, which is kind of a good thing to see. Now, one thing that I mentioned earlier was the eye relief on the Vortex. You can mount this on the gun and kind of put your face, not necessarily wherever, but you have more room to play with. You have more of an adjustment in eye relief with the Vortex to make sure you're not getting that little black ring around the image. And I thought that was extremely impressive. The Neos, not quite as much. That being said, the Neos wasn't bad, don't get me wrong. It was just kind of average in that ballpark. The Vortex really took the cake when that was, from that perspective anyway. Now, one thing that I really thought was impressive about the Neos, though, that definitely kicks the crap out of the Crossfire are the turrets, and you can just hear them. Like how defined those are. That's the windage. And that's the elevation, okay? So those are extremely defined, and they're very firm too. You obviously can't feel them because you're watching the video, but they're very, very firm. You know where you're at for the most part, and you're not going to have much of an issue in making that adjustment and being confident in your adjustments. Now the Vortex, on the other hand, not so much. Like especially the elevation adjustment here, I don't know. It would be very difficult in like a hunting situation to be able to know exactly where I'm at. Now, I've shot this just at bench rest, so I've been able to directly look at it and move it, so I know what's going on. That being said, these turrets do get a little mushy, and I'm not that impressed with it. I didn't notice too much of a difference in tracking. I mean, they were both extremely easy to zero. So that wasn't much of an issue, but still I was not impressed with the turrets on the Vortex here. Not really impressed with that at all. Other than that, the parallax adjustment on the Neos is a awesome feature, because especially for you hunters out there, I mean, if you're taking this out to like 300 yards or something like that, you might need to make that parallax adjustment and just get a clearer picture, right? The Vortex didn't feature that, and it's about an extra $30, right? So that's really nothing to sneeze at. And overall, I think that the Neos really took the cake here in terms of features. I mean, the eye relief on the Vortex was great, but when it came down to everything, I think the Neos actually won out, in my opinion. And so again, what we want to do when we're wrapping up here is just remind you that this was not a full battery of tests. I did not put these scopes through all the spaces that I put scopes through when I do full out reviews on them. I didn't do tracking tests. I didn't do optical clarity tests. I didn't actually score out the features or anything like that. That being said, I think the Neos took the cake here. The one thing that the Vortex had over the Neos was the eye relief forgiveness that you really get out of using the scope, where you get to miss that black ring. That being said, the Neos here, it's got the parallax adjustment, and not all of them have the parallax adjustment, true. That being said, this is $119.99, and it's $30 less, at least $30 less than the Vortex, and it comes with a parallax adjustment. And in addition, the turrets, these are just much more defined, much better. Whatever they're doing to make really high quality turrets like that, I think that is going to be a huge thing moving forward, especially for like the next 5 to 10 years in the optics community. I really think that well-defined turrets on affordable scopes are going to be a big thing, because this is just not workable, right? Listening to that and the mushiness of it is just not that can throw your entire game off. So when you have a scope that has really defined turrets like this, I think that definitely makes them stand out a lot more over their counterparts. But other than that, that's it for the side-by-side comparison and the Athlon versus Vortex question. Now, we don't have an exact answer to that question yet, because this was just one comparison between two scopes that were of similar quality. Both these companies have extremely high-quality lines, and we're going to be comparing most of them in the future. So there is more to come, so stay tuned for that. If you have a request for two of the different lines that you would like to see, a side-by-side comparison on, and maybe some tests that you'd like to see them run through, let me know. I'd absolutely love to hear it, and absolutely love to put them through the test for you. So other than that, thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.